on your end, and you can kind of put it together with the other essays, or if that's what you're supposed to do. Okay. And then also, Anish, keep your Zoom open through like office hours and through the break. That way, because if I close it and you somehow can't get it back up, that way it's open and you don't have to worry about getting back into it for the afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So give you a couple minutes to do that. I'm going to check to make sure people are starting to do that. And then we'll get started in maybe 2 or 3 minutes. So make sure that you are uploading your things to Canvas to the right spots. And really what we're going to be doing today is just presenting your web page and give us an idea of, you know, what you learned, you know, show us your web page. What did you do to change it? What's your first project? What kind of things did you change on that? What'd you do with your second project? Kind of show us a little bit on that. So honestly, it shouldn't take us very long to do that. So I'd say 3 or 4 or 5 minutes at most for each person. And remember, we are not the only ones going to see this. So some of the people that at the governor's school will see it, like, you know, just the people who handle the logistics. Parents may see this. So just FYI, just so you know, it's not just for us. We want to, yes, I could do that, Karen. Yeah. And does anybody want to start us off? I'm not saying you have to start exactly right now, but does anybody want to start first? Because I'm hoping to have every single person go. So. And honestly, if nobody has a preference, I may just go down the list of who I see first, second, third, and just go that way. Okay. Here's the way I would do it. I would pull up my web page, and then I would say, okay, this is my web page that I worked on. Actually, first I would say, hi, my name is, you know, Travis. I'm a such and such grader at such and such, or you don't have to include that. So include at least your name. All right. And then talk about your web page, what you learned. If you want to say, I didn't have much experience, so this is sort of new to me, or um, you know, whatever you want to do. I just want people to see what you worked on, see what you learned this week, see what you were able to do. It'd be great if you could talk about your discussions that you had with each other and how they helped you, because that's part of camp. So really, it's just like a little showcase of what you've done this week, and, you know, all that good stuff. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts before we get going? Okay. And it would be it would be awesome if you could have your camera on when you present, but it's not required. Obviously, if you're not comfortable, you don't have to do that, but it would be great so that when you're presenting, we can see who's presenting and who did what. Um, so, all right, let's check to see if we got most everything submitted. Um, and then we'll get started. If we happen to go through the office hours a little bit, that's fine too, because probably not a whole lot to do during the office hours this morning. So. All right, so we have 9. So we probably should have a few more people. So make sure you do that. For the Thursday afternoon activity should be your, your second project that you did. And then the Friday morning should be at least your web page, if not whatever else you want to add. But that should be at least your web page. We have just 5 people for that.
It's hard for me to upload, so just give me a minute, but I'll try to upload, but I have bad connection kind of, so it's hard for me to upload, just to let you know.
Okay, thanks for letting me know. All right, so let's get started. I think we're recording now, so we are going to start. Does anybody want to start us off today? Give you one last opportunity to. All right, I'm going to go down the list then. So the first person I see on my screen is Delbert. Okay, so I'm just going to go down the list. I'm not going to pick on anybody, so I'm just going to go down the list. So Delbert, if you'll just show us what you got, go through your presentation, obviously just kind of introduce yourself and show us your page. Everybody should be able to share their screen, and yeah, just go from there.
Okay, so my name is Delbert Suhi, and I go to, well, I guess I can say I went to BMS and I was in 8th grade. Now I'm going to 9th grade into LHS. So, or I guess that's in high school. Now let me pull up my website. Okay. Share my screen. Okay. Okay, so my website's messing up a little bit. I just tested it a few minutes ago, but what
That's
I had
okay.
was, so here we have what I did during the governor's school virtual camp. And what we did during the virtual camp is that we learned the basic elements needed to run a web page. And by
Wow.
using elements, we're able to create a web page like the one here.
So did you
And
share it yet? Oh.
share it. I haven't shared it yet, but
You should be able to now. Okay, there you go.
yeah. And then next, for our CSS content, CSS is used to style web pages that use HTML. And here the CSS is used to provide color and animations to everything in the web page. And then last, we were able to use JavaScript to make games that were playable throughout the web page. That's the end of my showcase.
Okay. Do you want to show us maybe like one of your games or something that you worked on?
Yes. So let me pull up. Hold on, let me close this browser. Run. Okay, share my screen. So here I made a block breaker game by using the website. And pretty much the entire goal is that you want to just hit the block into the little blocks and finish the game. Now I made a minor edit to make the board move slower because I realized that it actually moves a little fast and it's a little imprecise at times. And that was pretty much the end of the edits that I made.
What did you do to change it? Like what kinds of things did you do to change it?
I wanted to make the board a bit slower so that everything could be much smoother.
Yeah.
Because I found whenever you try to play it, the board tends to be a little fast. Even when I was playing through it, I kind of messed up a bunch. So what I wanted to do is that I wanted to slow the board down. So
And
that way,
did you add the alert at the end?
the alert at the end.
Yeah.
Yes, I did add
Okay.
like a little alert, so you know when you won or when you failed.
Okay. Cool. Good. That's good. Good job. All right. Who wants to go next? Okay. I'll just start picking people.
I think maybe I'll go next.
Okay.
That's
Sounds
okay.
good. That sounds good, V.
All right. I'm gonna share real quick.
Okay.
Okay, so here's my showcase. It's pretty basic, but I added a little GIF there, and I
Okay.
added the CSS logo. And so for HTML content, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It's the language that we learned on the first day of camp, and it was used in creating this website. One of my favorite things about coding with HTML is how easy it is to read and understand what the code is trying to show. And then for CSS content, CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. It's a language that allows you to create and decorate your website. My favorite thing about CSS is how fun it is to be able to choose all the colors and make everything follow a theme. So for this, I did like sort of a blue-green theme. So everything's either blue or green, and I actually kind of like it. It looks really nice.
Yeah. Looks good.
And then so for the JavaScript games, here is the block hopper game. I'm absolutely terrible at this game, but
That's okay.
exactly. I can never time my jumps right. So let's go back. Oh my god. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine.
Okay. And then the breakout game. Oh no. Wait.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
No big deal.
But yeah, that's basically all I have. I also have the links for w3schools.com, and yeah, that's it.
So can I ask you something? So you worked on the breakout game. You worked with your group in like we did like a breakout group, and you worked.
Hmm.
What did you get out of that? Like when you were talking with your like colleagues and trying to kind of debug some stuff in your breakout game.
I understood that maybe I should read the instructions before I just start like straight up copy and pasting everything.
Yeah.
And also I understood that a lot of problems take like patience and time, and I need to like really like read through everything and understand what I did wrong instead of like immediately freaking out.
Um, so were you able to kind of get through some of your stuff like through collaboration? Was that helpful?
Yeah, it really was because I was able to help others and they were able to help me. And so it was like a mutual collaboration where
That's
both of us could like better our website.
that's good. That's really good. Very good job. All right, who wants to go
Thank
next?
you.
Yeah, no problem. Maxwell, do you want to go?
Sorry, I had to find the Zoom tab.
That's
Sure,
okay.
I can go.
There's always a delay.
So this is the website that I made to showcase what I had learned this week. On the first day, we learned about HTML and CSS, and we're able to create a website layout shown in this screenshot. And then on the second day, we created our first JavaScript game, and we're able to customize it. And then on the third day, I created my own game using a tutorial I found online. And it was really fun being able to use my knowledge to create a new game that wasn't just copying and pasting and kind of figuring out things on my own.
Can you take us through the game?
Yes, so this is the game. There's a starting screen, and then when you press start game, there's physics, and you can platform collision, and then you can jump, and then when you reach the door up here, it says that you've won.
Oh, cool. And you can restart and all that good stuff.
Yes.
If
Well, you
you were
can
going,
start in the game, but if you've already won, then you have to refresh.
yeah. Cool. That's good. So if you could expand on this game, what would you do?
I would probably try and add more levels
Yeah,
and better collision because there are some bugs with that.
that's okay. It takes time. That's good. All right, very good job. So let's go on to someone else. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Xavier, do you want to go?
All right.
Just share your screen and just take us through what you did.
Okay, so this is my webpage. Web programming content on how all the websites are able to be designed. You have HTML content, which is hypertext markup language, and is a system used to apply the structure and fundamentals of a given page. It is the language to make the composition of this page. Then we have cascading style sheets, or CSS. It's a language that is used for giving descriptions on documents written in HTML or XML. It is the language that gives this page a varied look. And then we have JavaScript Games. It is a computer programming language used to make interactive effects on web browsers. It is a language to make the design interactive games like Block Jump and the Brick Breaker that I made. And then I have the images and all the links here, you know, in case you want to know more about all this stuff. And then at the bottom, I have another link to a summary.
Cool. Can you show us one of your games?
Yeah. So here's the block hopper. Oh, forgot you're supposed to use spacebar.
That's okay. So what kinds of changes did you make to the JavaScript game?
I changed the false speed. I changed the center line. I changed the background. I even changed the border and the speed of the wall. So it has a faster pace.
Yeah, it looks good. You did a good job. Were you able to get the other game done?
Yes, I did.
Can we check that out? Okay.
Yeah, right here. There's a lot more bricks, and I added a border.
Very good. And did you add the lives component too?
Yes.
Can you walk us through how you did that?
Okay, so I basically went up to the live section on the coding place, and I changed it from 3 to 1.
Okay. So you changed that variable, all right? Good. All right, good job. Thank you for sharing. Let's go on to somebody else. Does Abi, do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
So this is my website, and on the first day when we did HTML content, it's like the basic structure of a web page. And then the CSS content, which we learned on the second day, it styles the websites and makes it look more appealing. And then the remaining days we did the JavaScript games. And these are my 2 games made using JavaScript, which is Block Jumper and the Breakout game.
And the background I love. That's cool.
Yeah. And that's my website.
Very good. You did a good job. I love all the changes that you made. You did a great
Thank
job.
you.
All right, so let's move on. Who else wants to go? Trinity, do you want to go?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
So this is my web page. This is web programming camp 2022. So what is HTML? HTML, which stands for Hypertext Markup Language, is the format for any web page. It can be used to structure the website's content into lists, paragraphs, a header, etc. Here's the picture and the link. What is CSS? CSS, which stands for Cascading Style Sheets, is a style sheet language that is used to describe the web page. It's essentially what makes the website pop with color, design, size, and so on. And here we have what we did this week. This week we have done and learned a lot of things, such as how to use JavaScript, how to make web pages using JavaScript, CSS, and HTML, and how to make games using those three as well. Even though I had a more or less basic knowledge of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, I still learned even more about those three and how to use them to make cool things like games, apps, and web pages. Even though I don't think I'll pursue a career in coding, I would certainly like to do programming slash coding as a hobby, since it is an interesting area to explore. And here's my second game. Basically what you have to do is to avoid have the wind stop touching have the balloon to stop touching the wind. It's not really much, but it's just a simple game.
Can you show us your code? Just click on the view code. And so you used code.org and they use JavaScript. So can you take us through a little bit of how this works?
Yeah, so first I created all of my variables for my sprites and backgrounds. And then I had my function here. So if the wind got to a certain part on the screen, it will go back the other way and vice versa. And I had stuff for when I pressed the right key on my keyboard, the boy will move, and the same for the balloon. If I press the up key, the boy moves, and so on. And then I had, if the balloon is touching the wind, the balloon will be destroyed, the boy will be destroyed, the wind save space, and then the game over animation will show. And I put the draw sprites at the end to make it all true.
That's honestly really good. You got a lot of if statements in there. That's great. You made your own functions, set your own variables. That's awesome. Very good job. Great. All right, so let's move on to the next person. Who wants to go from here? Karen, do you want to go?
Me?
Yes, would you?
Okay, I didn't hear.
That's okay, sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So this is my web page. I just use this one as like an introduction, and so I came in here like knowing basically nothing, and I think this camp gave me like a general idea of like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and I learned how to like make simple changes to that code, and I learned that HTML means is like what they use to structure a web page or to organize it, and it makes the page look good. From the many different codes, we also learned CSS. CSS is what you use to like style or design your web page, and I would say CSS would be my personal favorite because it was fun for me to change up like the colors and all that and add borders and things. And also I just wanted to add that I think W3 Schools, the website you showed us, that really helped me because there's a lot of really like good tutorials on there. And and then we did JavaScript games at the end, and JavaScript is what they use to like play out actions, or sort of like as an interactive website app or whatever. And even though I still don't like really fully understand most of the stuff, I get like how it works out in the end. And wait, just trying to move that. Yeah, so those are my games. This is the block hopper game.
Very good.
Yeah.
So what changes did you make with that?
So I changed the color and I added a border. I also changed the fall speed to be a little bit faster. I don't know if it worked, but
Oh, it did.
yeah, and then I changed like the name.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
What about your other games? Were you able to get
And
that?
then there's this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I changed the colors and yeah.
No, it looks good. Honestly, if you go back to your webpage, um, you did a really good job. Like, keep in mind, you had no experience, right, with any of this. So learning, you learned quite a bit in a week. Obviously, you're not gonna, JavaScript's more complicated, so it's gonna take a while, but you did a really good job, and your style and your creativity is great. So that's, you can tell you put some work into that. So
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good job. All right, so let's move on to the next person. Demir, do you want to go?
Yeah, I can go next.
Okay, cool. You guys, honestly, I'm impressed. You guys did a really good job with your web pages so far, and the games and the changes that you made. So you guys have done great.
So for my website, I decided to customize the one that was on W3 Schools a little bit.
Yeah.
And for this, I use HTML, which is used for basically any website that you see on the web right now. It's used to build the basic structure of how it works, and then you use CSS to customize all the HTML you did. And you look on the left, you can see all the code I did for the website, including my CSS and my HTML. And then on the right, I have screenshots of both of my JavaScript games. And especially for here's my breakout game. I changed the speed of the ball and the color of the ball. If you see the ball color, it changes. And then if you refresh the page, the block color changes every single time. And then I added a border around the thing to give it a bit more pop on the website. And then for my blocker game, I changed, I think, about like 20 things. Oh, I forgot the key. The points go up by 2. I fixed the jump a little bit. The block speed is a lot different, and I changed all the colors of everything. This camp was honestly really fun, and I learned a lot, especially about HTML and CSS. So, I would do it again if I could.
Yeah, very cool. You did honestly a really good job on your website, your webpage, and that the breakout game you did really cool. That was honestly a really good job. So you did a really good job throughout. So awesome. All right. Let's see who else is next. Who wants to go?
I'll go.
Okay, cool. And then Nicholas, you can go after Lucy. Lucy, I think you're on mute.
Okay, well.
There we go.
Here's my showcase page, and I did all the HTML content and how it's words and images that are unorganized and in a straight line, black and white, and how CSS is used to make it look all pretty and organized, make it look sensible, and how JavaScript is the interaction between the user and the web page, the input and output. And then I put my 2 games in there.
I like how you did. Can you go through again? I know you already talked to us about how you did this, but can you talk about how you put the bars like top and bottom?
Right, yeah. So I actually used a random number generator between 1 and 2 to decide the starting Y position of the bars. So everything's the same with the actual barcode, except that if it chooses 1, it starts at Y equals 0. And if it chooses 2, it starts at like Y equals canvas height minus height.
Very good. You did a good job with that. Very creative. So yeah, overall you did really good. Great job. Nicholas, do you want to go?
Yeah. To share my screen.
This is really why I don't like to just have somebody do exactly what I do. I like to give people creative freedom and some freedom just to kind of do whatever they want. And honestly, 9 times out of 10, people do a really good job and they have a lot of different things to offer, and everybody does something different. So I'm stoked about these games and pages. So
This is my webpage, and I went through each of like the different codes that we learned and put, like, a brief description of what each one was. HTML is like an outline basically of what you want your website to be, and it is just all like the basic code with all the text and everything. CSS is all about style, color, font, shape, and format. It's created through it's on like the same format as HTML, but it's a different code, and it allows people to customize like things like location, background, color, and stuff like that. And it helped us recolor, customize, and change our games and our websites. JavaScript is a type of code that's used for mainly interactivity, and we worked in camp. We broke out into breakout rooms and worked with other students to make our Java games better. And on Wednesday, we made a block hopper game that we had like a lot of help with. And on Thursday, we had a little bit more freedom to be able to make the game that we wanted to. And my block hopper game is right here. I changed around the colors, the canvas width, and I changed the jump, the fall, and everything to make it just appear a little bit smoother. And my second game was a snake game. And this was a lot harder than the block hopper game because we didn't really have much like help making it, I guess. So it was a lot more difficult. And here's like the code and stuff for like the actual web page, which we had a lot of freedom to make what kind of web page we wanted to.
You did very good. Honestly, your webpage looks great. I like the fact that you put in navigation, and I like the fact that you did your own sort of your second project, the snake game. That's a cool game. So you did a good job. So very good job. All right, who's next? Let's see. I can't remember who has gone and who hasn't. Tyler, have you been yet?
No, I haven't been.
Okay. Do you want to give it a shot?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is my webpage. I had to use W3 Schools to try and get it centered in the middle of the page and get the padding or whatever. HTML is what I used mainly for the text and the other stuff like that. I use CSS to get the padding and put it in the center of the page and doing the fonts. And JavaScript I had to use to do these 2 buttons. Here's my block hopper game. It's just a normal block hopper game. I I changed a little bit though, with the controls or whatever. And I changed the colors as well, and the font for score. Here's the other game I made in the code.org. It's this game, but it's got a lot of paths, so I guess I'll just send it in the chat or something.
So how does it work? Can we see your code?
So basically, when you click on a button, it goes to another screen. Like when you press the inspect button, it'll go to the inspect page. See?
Yeah. Yeah, that looks good.
I also put a little sound in when you press the button.
And did you have any JavaScript experience before you started?
No, I had coding experience, but none in HTML, CSS, or JavaScript.
Okay, good. So you learned a little something this week. That's great. Yeah, you did really good. So great job. Very good. All right, so who wants to go next? Caleb, do you want to go?
Sure.
Okay.
All right. I made like kind of a game. It's not done yet, but you know. So you just have your character, there's random terrain generation, camera movement, and you got like an animated weapon. And that's it.
And so tell us how you made this. Like, how did you get started? What platform, all that good stuff.
Um I just started with a HTML and I made like the play menu, and then I made like the actual game in script job in JavaScript.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically in the beginning it uses like CSS and HTML to get the play menu to work, and then everything else is rendered on the canvas in JavaScript.
Nice. So how did you get involved with Replit? So how did you get using that?
I just found it a long time ago.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. It's like a cool little platform. Did you get your website completed?
Um, this is my website.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah.
So can you go back to your game? So can you talk us through like how it works? I mean, I know, probably how to play, but like how does it work? Like as far as the code, like the JavaScript, how does that?
Um, so basically, when you load into the page, it generates like the terrain on the screen. And then the farther you go, it generates like more terrain, and it fills up the screen. And then when you like when it's off the screen, it degenerates the terrain. So it actually changes the terrain if you go like somewhere else and then go back. And the character just like it gets the position of itself in the world, and it's different from the camera position because the camera position is like kind of moving around following the cursor a little bit, but the character gets its position in the world, and then it gets like the blocks under it, so it can get like the height of the blocks under it so it doesn't phase through the ground. And then I just added some gravity and velocity on left and right to get the character to move.
And so how much experience did you have in like HTML, CSS, or JavaScript before the camp?
A decent amount.
Okay, that's what I figured. I just wanted to let other people know that you had, a decent amount of stuff. So honestly, this looks really good. You did a really, really good job. And I'm pretty sure you'll probably, finish this out, and it'll probably be a really cool game when it's finished. So if you do finish it, I want you to send it to me because I want to see like how it ends up. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'd love to see the finished product. Cool, very good. Is there anybody left? I honestly cannot remember. Um, I'm looking at our list of people. Jeremiah, do you want to try to go?
Yeah.
Okay. I know your internet connection is not the greatest, so just do the best you can.
Yeah, because I really couldn't like create. I mean I created a little website, but I really couldn't like create the website with all the sections. But I'll ask you a question about that during office hours.
Okay, cool. So you can present what you
Um.
got and we'll go from there. And remember, I think Jeremiah, he had
Okay.
0 experience, right? Um, with
Mm-hmm.
HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So this is a little website that I had with HTML. I had a heading about page. I'll add a heading for that page later. This is a little link I put in for like a JavaScript video if anyone need help on a JavaScript, so you can click right there and they get you either you can watch it on the website or it takes you to a YouTube page where you can watch on YouTube. And then I have some information about London of what I saw on the page, so I copy and paste that. And then I took a picture of like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and get my online page from that. Then on here, I just finished a couple of things off of the app lab that I had earlier. Now after I'm finished with this last one, I'm gonna share it to Mr. Travis, but this is what I had so far. I'm gonna add in all kinds of stuff. And then I also have my page here where I was doing everything for my game.
Okay.
Then this is like the behind the scenes for the whole game. I changed a couple of stuff and I put the number beside it, but you have to look closely because it's not like it got different colors in it. It's not just white coloring. So you
Yeah.
have to look closely for the numbers beside it. But I changed a couple of things in there. And then let's see.
Yeah. So
Then
you made the web page and you
then I
did.
have my
Yeah.
yeah. hmm
I was just
And then
saying,
I
like,
have the
oh, go ahead.
behind the scenes web page right here.
Okay.
Yeah, the only problem that I have is trying to get the website up based on all the, coding that I did. That's the only problem that I have that I need to work on this evening. But
Yeah.
besides that, everything is good.
Good. Very good job. And it's pretty impressive since you had 0 experience, no programming at all. So yeah, you did a great job. So you guys did a great job. I'm proud of all of you. Everybody started um, at different levels of experience, and I feel like everybody has, had a positive increase as far as what they know um, with regard to HTML and CSS and JavaScript. So you did a really good job. The goal, for those who are watching, the goal of our um, our week was to learn about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and so that they know kind of all the different things that go into a programming job, a web systems job. We did look at jobs, a couple of jobs early on, and early on we saw that a lot of the jobs were looking for HTML and CSS and JavaScript, almost pretty much everyone. So I wanted to give them a basic understanding of those languages, and but also in a fun sort of campy way. So I gave them a lot of creative freedom to change things, make their web pages look the way they wanted to. And so we touched on HTML to build a website. We used CSS to style it. And the last few days we worked on JavaScript. We started a game together and I had them change it. And then based on what they wanted to change, and then I let them choose a second JavaScript project, and they could kind of choose almost anything, and I gave them some direction, but I also said you could choose something on their own as well. So everybody did a really good job, and I'm very proud of all of you. So thank you so much for participating and helping each other, especially in the breakout rooms. That was honestly the thing I most enjoyed, is people helping each other, giving advice, showing your stuff to each other. And so I appreciate that as well. So thank you so much. And does anybody have any things to say on the video by chance? Jeremiah says he had fun. Lucy. So yeah, we'll talk about that. Any other things? All right, Anish, you can stop the recording if you want.